In fact, we are ready to start. This is the start of the 8th Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And today, the topic is somewhat unknown, but we do know that Mr. Keshe has a lot of things he'd like to talk to us about. So, without further ado, we'll hand it over to Mr. Keshe and the knowledge seekers of the Spaceship Institute. And here we go.
Okay, hello to each of you. My name is John, for those who don't know it yet. I think one first aspect would be to talk about the position of the reactors now. So I arrived yesterday. I didn't see the reactors working before. Well, apparently we don't see much happening with the small reactor of Armen and Marek. There was something strange happening, which is, in fact, the reactor was not turning. The power was on, consuming about 10 watts, but nothing was apparently happening. So that has stayed in that position for quite a while. I cannot say. In fact, I was not there to see every details of what happened, but at one moment, the reactor, we started to change the power, and by increasing the voltage on the reactor, it started to turn. So it was not the motor that was burnt; it was the reactor, because the plasma was in balance inside the reactor, keeping the sphere in a fixed position. So we let it go in that new position, but sometime later, while in the new position the reactor was turning, we had the reactor stop again. So we later tried to see if the plasma would allow, if we don't compensate by the motor, if the plasma could make the sphere rotate itself. So we just disconnected the power supply. So nothing was sent to the motor, but we didn't see anything happening. So we just connected the motor back, and strange thing, because we saw the power consumption before, and we saw when we connected them again, the power consumption was much higher than before. So very strange, we didn't see anything else happening. The motor would not turn anymore, the sphere was not turning, but the consumption was higher. We did that, and Mr. Keshe was not there, so when he arrived, well, the problem was that the consumption was up to about 32 watts, which was a bit too high for the motor without having it turning. And at that moment, the motor was in fact burnt. It was out of service. And it was in fact very hot, so we disconnected completely. So that reactor is now good for repair, because after changing the motor, after putting a new motor, another motor, more powerful, slightly more powerful, apparently, we tried to have it working, new problems, and after that, leaks coming up, and we have to correct completely the leaking problem. So that reactor is for complete repair. Well, not actually not complete. We will not open the reactor. We'll try to mend the two different problem, which is the motor we put in has no couple, has no torque at the beginning. So apparently it could be interference with the magnets used for the coupling of the sphere of the reactor to the motor. Could be that. I don't actually know exactly what's the problem, but if we help the reactor to start turning, then it turns, but the torque is not good. So the thing will be to change the motor again and put a very high torque motor, so we can be assured that no problem will be anymore at that level. The leaking is the other problem, and we'll be changing the rotating valve, and that will be a problem to have that done without having any problem with the connection that are made inside the core. Inside the outer core is the inner core, which is free rotating, but the connection to it has to stay in place and should not be disconnected from inside. So that's a delicate thing. So I hope it will be done correctly. And well, that has to be done later today. So I cannot say anything more for the moment with that reactor. The other reactors, well, the Iranian, the Jorge's reactor, Ivan's reactor, and the power reactor, they are all turning. I can't say a lot about each of them. Only that rotation of the reactors are still on. One thing I forgot, there's Marco's reactor, which is turning also. But we don't see I don't see anything special, and it's just turning. I cannot say that I see any plasma. There's nothing visible. The radio, well, it's on. We haven't made a correction, checking to see if the uh, radio would work in another place, not near the reactor. So we have no way to check the presence of the plasma. Well, I don't know how it could be checked. Anyway, the plasma apparently is present, is working, and we'll be starting to load to pressurize the reactors. and so we should be going with 4+1 reactor for at the moment. So instead of having 6 or 7, we are with 5 reactors, but we have to go on to pressurize and see what's happening. So that's the position for the moment. I think Marco can eventually add something for his side. So I pass the microphone to Marco.
Yeah, hello, good morning from me. Rad bi pozdravil tudi slovensko govoreče poslušalce. I would like to greet also Slovenian speaking audience. We were on holiday last week. Nobody was here, so we stopped the previous test that we started 10 days ago. And when we came back on Monday, we start testing again. And John already described more or less our testing. We loaded 7 reactors and start rotation and put gases inside. All of them, they have nano-coated walls, except my reactor, which has a central column, which is rotating and has nano-coated propeller inside, but walls are not coated. There are silver walls, and we are using gas layering. In my reactor, we are using argon, nitrogen, and hydrogen inside. So instead of nano-coating, there are 2 layers of argon and nitrogen. So we have put all the gases in the reactors, and also John described this Armen and Marek reactor, which is, we can see results from this reactor most obviously. It was in Tuesday afternoon. Me and Armen were in the lab. I think at that time John didn't come yet, and suddenly this reactor is rotating with lower and lower speed, and after 15 minutes it stopped rotating on its own. We could still observe voltage and current, so we were still feeding the motor of the reactor, but reactor stopped. So in a way, we know that we achieved plasma inside, which was in balance, and this plasma was releasing energy, which was in a way in balance with energy of the motor. So we left this reactor to see if it will get out of balance again. We left it overnight, and yesterday on Tuesday we had to decide what to do with this reactor, and then we decided to we decided to increase voltage, or Marek, what was the your yeah, okay, we increased voltage, and then reactor started rotating again yesterday. That was yesterday in the morning, and after, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, it stopped again, and then we done another experiment, just disconnect power supply for very short time, and after that that connect again, and after that the motor burn out. That already. Oh yeah, I forgot to. Before we touched the motor, we took the gases out, and we did some loading also in inner or outer core. I don't know exactly, because our diary is in the lab now. Actually, it was in both reactors, both cores, yes. So yeah, we know that we achieved plasma in that reactor for sure, and it is very tricky reactor. It's difficult to understand, especially if you're getting touched with plasma first time, and so we have expert between us. Mr. Keshe is here, so we can rely on his experience, and we can really thank him that he can guide us in this plasma experiment. So maybe I can invite also other people to share their experiments with us, and maybe they can teach us about experiments with guns that they are doing at their homes. I saw some results on Facebook, and maybe if there are people here on this workshop that they've got some results, maybe they can teach us. I can tell also about another system that we prepared for CO2 gas absorption. During our reactor testing, we have a lot of time to do other things, so we use this time to prepare other systems. We prepared another system for CO2 absorption. We used copper coated wires, which were coated in a Coca-Cola bottle, so that we don't have any oxygen in the process. And we, in a way, we achieved coating without any oxygen. It's just nano copper on these wires, and these wires are optimal for CO2 absorption. So we use this this wires as one electrode, and we used zinc coated. It's champagne wires for the cap of the champagne bottle as another electrode. Yeah, and we achieved quite good results. I think we have a lot of CO2 in our system. We observe also oxygen and other things in the system. Also the motor was running when we connected. At the first moment, I didn't realize that motor is running because I was too busy to observe these whitish guns that were appearing at the very beginning. So then I think Mr. Keshe put attention on the motor. It was running. After 20, maybe half an hour, motor also stopped, but production of CO2 guns is still happening, and we'll have to extract these guns out of the system. So maybe I will invite people that are doing experiments and to share their results with us, and maybe they can tell us what kind of experiments are they doing, and maybe we can learn also from you. So that's from my side. I'll pass microphone to, or has anybody any question or something?
Guys, I got two stupid questions. Do you use brushed or brushless motors?
We use motor with brushes.
And do you have a current protection on it?
No.
Check your brushes then. Probably you got your brushes melted. That's why the motor is not working.
Well, one. Yeah. Actually, one motor that we open one motor when at the so this damaged motor, we open it, and at the opening we lose one piece. I think we lose one brush. But yesterday in the evening, we've got that brush again, and so we'll have to put it together. They're suggesting to me, because I was not at the repair, present at the repair, and they're telling me here that the housing was melted. The temperature was too high, and the housing was melted. So motor is still working. It's the wires are okay, brushes are also okay. So we will have to do repairment.
I had some motor issues lately with my various contraptions. I blew a couple of motors as well as the drivers, which can get expensive. So in the interim, while I was waiting for funds and for parts to come in, I decided, well, what would be a cheap motor. That's a variable speed motor that could be used as a drive motor for these kinds of reactors. That's a basic sphere configuration with a belt drive. And I thought, well, what else has a belt drive? What about a sewing machine? So I went to the local thrift store and I found a nice little sewing machine. It cost $25, but that's in Canadian dollars. And it's got this beautiful little sewing machine motor with a belt drive and a variable speed foot control, and you can vary it, and it's got tremendous power. It's got its own built-in fan cooling system. It's made to take abuse. I mean, housewives pound these things, making repairs to garments day and night, sort of thing. Well, they used to in the old days, in my mind. But actually, people would wear out these machines, but the motors were quite durable. So I've actually hooked it up to a Variac, which is a variable voltage transformer, and I can vary it from 0 to probably 6 or 8,000 RPM very easily. And it seems like a good low-cost alternative, although there might be downsides of the AC power or something like that involved as well. Any comments about that idea?
Well, yeah, it's a good idea. Everything that can be used, so it's a very good idea. Is this AC motor? Yeah, but AC. Mm. Okay. Mm. Yeah, whenever you have opportunity to change RPMs, so speed of the rotation, it can be used whatever you can find on the market. So thank you, Rick, for your proposition.
You see here, I'm not sure if I can show both in the live stream at the same time, and I'll show you a brief a video of it. I don't know if it's ready. Is it hooked up, ready to
What
go
about
there again?
your reactor, Rick? We didn't hear anything quite long time, but I know that you did a lot of experiments. And is it anything new?
Well, I got into a bit of a funk because they didn't have enough funding to continue my life and so on. So when you blow a motor or two, then things come to a standstill. And I blew like $300 worth of gear all at once, and several of those experiments came to a standstill, you might say, rotating stuff. But on the other hand, we have actually in this little group here over 20 different designs, you might say, for reactor types. And if I can show you here, let me see if my camera will come in properly.
Well,
okay,
I think a lot of your designs can be used. Now a lot of things are very clear. You just have to use nano coating inside your reactor so that plasma don't touch the metal.
Yes.
Walls of your reactor, and you can start testing.
I think there's several ways that can be done too. It doesn't have to be with the copper oxide necessarily. But anyway, here's a little shot. I can't show it on the live stream at the same time. I don't have that.
We don't have
set up, but should be able to see it on the Skype.
Okay.
Can you see it on the Skype there? Maybe I can change this over. Oh, I have to minimize and then go into this. Yeah, let me see here. You can see on the live stream, perhaps there, that white. Can you guys see at the Spaceship Institute on the live? Or sorry,
no,
not on live stream, but on the Skype.
We will.
You don't have visual Skype there. Is that what you're saying?
We don't see anything. I don't know. This is
Okay.
window 8, and we are not used on it.
Okay. Okay, you'll have to take my word for it. And
Maybe I
I'll
can tell you that
like,
we are all day in our lab, and we are not paying attention a lot to our computers, and
I'll make a little
we have
video.
our priorities, which are more in doing experiments than on other things, and
Well,
maybe we can.
that's absolutely a problem. The more involved you get with the other things, everything from the politics and running of stuff to just communicating with others can be a full-time job. So it takes away from
Yeah,
that experimenting time, which is so important to people like us that need to get our hands on and get our heads on, like totally involved and totally immersed in that particular reactor, because it's like you say, each one is something that's brought to life. I wish I could show you here, but I have in my hands a coconut that I've taken the coconut water out, and I've put a fitting on the end of it and a bearing, and I'm able to rotate this coconut at, geez, it looks like it's going to take an easy 1,000 RPM without even balancing it in particular. And I'm gonna plastic coat, immerse the coconut in plastic to make it vacuum condition on the outside of the coconut. Vacuum it, that'll soak it into the inside, and essentially create the conditions inside the coconut to make a reaction take place. So it sounds nutty, coconutty perhaps, but I think it can be done. So that's just one of our 20 different reactors that are possible.
Yeah, it will be interesting to share your experience and your experiments with us. We are waiting to all of you to tell us how you are doing things, and also I know that Ludmil has a reactor prepared. And
That's right. I was
so
going to suggest Vince has had some interesting things happening in his creation of stuff, and so has Ludmil and some others that are popping up all over the place. I heard a rumor recently that somebody put together a 200 cell GANs type reactor that was producing enough power to run a laptop computer. So
wow.
that could be interesting.
Yeah. That will be very interesting.
That was
Actually,
from.
you need a lot of cells to produce higher power. So
That's right. That's why they had 200. But then think about it. What did what's his name? Elon Musk of the Tesla car company do when he was restricted from using the patents for the lithium batteries that were the big batteries? He used laptop batteries, 6,870 or something like that, laptop batteries to power the car. And it's gone on to be, it's now the fourth largest fourth largest in capital car company in the world right now. So small is good. Maybe multiple cells of the cells in the hundreds, perhaps in the micro size, would put out a certain thing that you
I
need.
didn't have opportunity to read the patent of the power cell production. We have other things to do here, but maybe you guys you read the patent about power cells and use this knowledge to make your own cells. And actually, as far as I know, you should use um, nano-coated material in the vacuum. We produce, let's say, about 1 volt. Well,
Did Mark wanted to be added to the
one.
conversation? I added him to the conversation here. I think that maybe that's what's making the sound. Should I add him or take him back off again? I see it on my. Oh, I see Vince added them already, so I guess that's. Marek, yeah. Okay, he seems to be gone there now. Okay, sorry, carry on. I didn't mean to interrupt, but they were getting that call coming through, so.
Yeah, maybe people can do some experiments with nano-coated wires inside the vacuum and try to do measurements how much power, how much energy they can achieve out of nano-coated wires inside vacuum. So, well, Mr. Keshe is telling us that it's been done, but we didn't have opportunity here to yeah. Actually, I used one of the pieces from these testings. It was a tube, a plastic tube, which has some fittings on each end. So in this tube, it was nano-coated copper, and a tube was under vacuum, and measurement were done with this configuration, how much energy can be produced with this material inside the vacuum. I took one of the fitting from this configuration to use for my reactor. So this testing equipment is now is obsolete. Yes, it's used for another dynamic reactor. So, any other questions? Or Armen has come. He needs to drink his coffee.
Well, what I can suggest you guys, first use brushless motor, and second, if you go to eBay, usually most of the motor controllers for the brushless motors, they have temperature and high current protection, so you won't be able to burn it. It's just gonna shut down.
Okay, thank you for your...
Just a suggestion, you can buy them from eBay fairly cheap.
Actually, Mr. Keshe told me right now that he knows that for years he tested it, and the impact of the brushless magnetic fields of the motor, or brushless motor, has very big impact on the plasma inside the reactor. So that's the reason we don't use them at the moment.
That's an interesting point, because a lot of the motors that I've been playing with are the brushless type, and it's always been a question to me whether to use brushed or brushless or some other means, which is, I think, which reactor is that, Guy? Or our famous pull start reactor, which will have no motor, and you pull start it like a chainsaw, basically. Why not? It's easy to get it up to the required RPM. If it's finely tuned enough, it should be able to be self-starting at that a certain RPM range, and if everything is all precise and ready to go, it shouldn't take too many days of pull starting to get it going. That was a joke, if anybody got it. I don't know. I could see getting big muscles doing that, but it might actually work. Put it this way.
Whatever.
Put it this way. If I was Gilligan, stuck on Gilligan's Island, I don't know if everybody remembers that TV series, but they're stuck on an island, their ship capsized, and they have coconuts, and they have a cord you could make, and fabricate some bearings, and you've make a fire, and you turn your coconut into, well, it turns out it's the finest activated carbon substance available, basically, the coconut shell. But that's beside the point, because we'd be firing the inside of it. But anyway, you could possibly, if you really, really had to, and you're stuck in a bind, create with what you had around you a reactor in order to, at least alleviate some of the suffering of the situation, if not get you out of the situation that you're in. So I'm thinking that could apply to any part of the world, essentially. If you're stuck in a desert, well, what have you got around you? You've got this silicon oxide all over the place and other kinds of oxides in this sand. Well, you'd use what you have available and make a ceramic or pottery type reactor, or whatever you could make out of that particular material. Maybe make it out of glass as you superheat the glass with some sort of contraption you have. And if you're stuck in the middle of a forest, maybe you could make a reactor out of some exotic fruit that has a skin that's impenetrable to vacuum, and create a vacuum with certain techniques that are adequate without using a turbomolecular pump and so on. But it all has to do with the nano coating. You aren't using? Is that what you said?
We are not using turbomolecular pump at the moment.
Right.
We are using graphene pump, which goes down to the 10 to the minus 3 millibars.
Right. That's what I have as well.
It's good enough at the moment.
Right. Yeah. So
it's better to have also turbomolecular pump, but we are still waiting for Arman's package from United States.
Would it be fair to say that the turbomolecular pump is, let's say, more required for the previous radioactive type reactor design, where it was just certain gases that were involved inside and maybe more critical in that, compared with the nano coatings that are used now, which act as some of those vacuum layers in it? We're told by Mr. Keshe that it's, and by science, and it makes sense that it's essentially a vacuum in between each layer of these nano layers. It's, if you look at it and visualize it in that level where you can see the atoms and so on, and it's mostly vacuum. You'd be hard pressed to see the next atom, probably, on that micro level.
The point is that when we use nuclear materials with a turbomolecular, we achieve plasma within the minutes, seconds, because we control everything. Because in a reactor like the Iranian reactor, which is now on the floor, we use up to about 400 radiation sources in a small reactor. It needs a technique to place them and understand how you place them. But when now we are using nano layers, for example, what Marco said about the reactor of Armen and Marek, it took us over 28 hours to achieve plasma condition. When they say that the reactor stopped on Tuesday afternoon, I was out, I was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The reactor was actually loaded at 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon, the day before. Before we saw some oscillation in the speed of rotation, but it takes nearly 28 hours to achieve plasma interaction, which affects the motor, is not instantaneous. And Marco and Armin noticed a change, a rapid change to halt over 15-20 minutes. But the day before, we saw some changes, or slight changes. For example, on Wednesday morning, yesterday morning, the reactor of Dr. Ivan Michel went to a total halt. I checked it about 7 o'clock in the morning, it was totally stopped. And then later on in the morning it came back on again. So that took about over nearly about the same time to achieve plasma. But within his case is a half sun formation. There is no core in it. We just rotate the plasma in a huge plasma of about 17-18 centimeter diameter. And we've seen the change of rotation in the energy reactor again, which has come from 500, which we fixed it for the center core. It raised itself, the motor of the reactor in the core raised itself from 500 to about 1280, and the outer core rotation, which is due to friction, raised from 500 to about 900. And then we decided the speed is going too high, the plasma was pushing the motors, and we reduced the power, I think, back to 500, no, 600 and 300 for the outer core, and we had to tame the plasma that way. So in the past, since Monday, we have seen formation of plasma in 3 reactors visually. But the interesting point has been that this is not coincidental, because, for example, when Iwan's reactor was in a what do you call it, saturation point, the reactor of what we call reactor B, which belongs to or operated by Arman and Marek, we saw the change of current drainage from their power supply. So when we repositioned again the reactors to see the interaction, we saw changes in the power production or power supply to the motor of the what do you call it, the reactor which reached plasma condition, which this shows there's a clear plasma interaction between all the cores, and this is instantaneous. When we moved one reactor to a new position, we see a drop or change in the current. I think it was from 2.63 to something like 2.1 amps. So the reactors have already linked up. So when you say nuclear material and vacuum, what do you call it, molecular pumping, that is instantaneous. We don't sit and wait for 2-3 days to reach plasma. There is indication 2 other reactors have created plasma, and but we have to find different ways of finding the configuration. what do you call it, the melting of the motor with the plasma and the stoppage of the motors is very, very common. This is what I reported the past year every time. Said there'll come the time you watch that your reactor stops, and if you leave it in time, it will start moving. And now for the first time, the knowledge seekers have seen this effect. So we have deliberately left what we call a adjustable reactor, which belongs to or operated by Jorge and Yakoko, which the inner core is loose on its base inside the outer core, but the outer core itself is loose again on the table, but controlled by the motor. So it means any sudden fluctuation in the plasma of any other cores will feed into this system, and the system through literally two pendulum hanging on each other will adjust to absorb sudden rushes of the plasma. At the moment, we need this to be there till we understand the full control of the systems. On the other hand, what we did not carry on with these reactors to start with, we did not hydrogen clean them. So they were loaded and left to become plasma, because it was important to understand the process, that how much we can affect the condition. I have seen other reactors coming up into operation, especially the Chinese are very busy with it, and we are planning to, what do you call it, to bring these reactors, if we can, in the long term to the center to see the effects on them. There are a couple of interesting positions which I explained yesterday to the knowledge seekers. You've seen the brain, what we call the brain's sphere on the table in the teaching room. Originally, the reactor, energy reactor, which is sitting in the center, has near enough the same volume as the brain cell here. It's just a few millimeters aside. That's why I chose this this reactor, or the brain cell. In the coming weeks, when they get a good hang of this, we have been producing nano copper oxide, which is being put into this brain in the center to make the first wireless computer control system. We will feed from the same setup, same copper system, the same amount of copper material into the center core of the energy reactor. For the first time, we will have GaNs within the center core, which is a dynamic balls of magnetic fields within the center. This, I think, will take us another month or two to achieve, because we have to produce from the same material. The original plan was to fill it in with hydrogen gases, but now that we have a very good supply of copper oxide GaNs, we're going to try this, and this reactor can take liquid, especially designed that way. It was pre-planned in the wrong test that if we put liquid materials in it, we can use it. Because the original reactor, which we were used over past 6-7 years, they had a liquid iron in them, which we use as a paint, in a paint composition. Now with the GaNs, we have the opportunity to test. But the point advantage with this development is that because the copper oxide GaNs on the table are made from the same wires and in the same environment as the GaNs material in the center core in the energy system, we have the opportunity to control the center reactor by thoughts and by emotions, or what we call by our thoughts more than the physical connection, because the dynamism and the systems are all both the same. There's a possibility that we have to rotate the brain dynamically as well, which is possible to do, but not at the highest speed, to keep the same kind of mixture rotation. But in the long run, within the next 2-3 months, we will develop, or we will test a non-communication direct control from the, what we call the teaching room, into the lab, which is something like about 40-50 meters away. But this is in a process of the future. Something which we have seen, and again we've seen it in the new reactors coming up, what they call it, to produce GANs, and I think a lot of you should have seen by now, is the production of protein, or like a greasy layer on the top. This material has and is a huge source, not only as a food, as we said, the protein, but there's a paper coming out within the next week or so, hopefully next 2 weeks, which I've written about this layer, what it is and how it's done. And we had the confirmation of its production in Fukushima as well. So for the first time, we can explain a lot of mysteries about the world of creation, how creation was done, how man came to be created on this planet. And nobody brought us from outside and planted us here, because now we see, even we saw yesterday with the new system from Marco, that in converting CO2 within the system of the nano gas and the salt, which is like a sea salt, which is a replication of the environment of this planet, we've seen protein, grease to be produced, and oxygen is released. So the process of release of oxygen into the environment of this planet by conversion of CO2 from gas to gas has been the production of protein. And in the paper to be published, I have explained that what has been the imaginary thoughts again, that all the oils we have, we are digging out of the earth, we are pumping out, be it in the North Sea, be it in Saudi Arabia, Iran, or America, is not totally, as has been assumed, to be from the remains of the animals which died. There must have been a lot of animals dying to get this kind of oils, and all of them in one place. And this does not make sense. So again, through the development of this technology, we have shown that the oil has been produced naturally by the process of the conversion of the CO2 and production of oxygen, and the byproduct has been oil. So where we find oils now in different locations around the world, these must have been the areas where there's been the salt seas, or in a position that the conversion of the material from CO2 and or to oxygen has produced oils, where these oils could not link up in a formation to become protein, to become plants, or become animals through connection with other elements. They have sunk into the inner core of the earth, and in the process have become oil. So even today, because we have the seas with the salts and we have lakes with the salts, these lakes and seas and oceans are still producing oil. And oil production, as we are used to it, is still carrying on. There's no animals dying. All these humans, 7 billion of us, die again and again. We don't add any to the oil reserves of the known nation. So this has been another hypocrisy that with this technology we have shown has been solved. But on the other hand, as we have informed a number of oil corporations and oil companies and refineries in past week or so, through the governmental connections we have, is that you don't need to dig out and drill holes to dig oil and then refine it. Now with this technology which we put on the table, you can produce oil specifically to the characteristics which you like. We've seen it in our lab. So oil production does not need to be anymore by producing corn and burning fuel, what do you call it, seed oils for energy production for burning, and polluting the environment and all the chemicals. Now we can produce millions of gallons and barrels of oil directly through the understanding of the conversion, the way the nature is done. As I always say, this technology will change the whole understanding of humanity, of its own creation. And now you people have done it and you've seen it. This, I needed a confirmation of it, that the soil creates oil, and we received it, and nobody understood what happened, but now I explain to you that you've seen it with your own eyes when it happened. Go back on the Fukushima testing when Yukako was testing the soil in Japan. In one part, I specifically asked, and she responds here that she can see oil mixture on the surface or oil testing, and I said this could be from the land. But in fact, the oil was created directly through the introduction of CO2 in the liquid which was getting tested. And we have proven again that oil production is a natural process. So this breaks another taboo in the world of science. So if what we assumed that the oil reserves will finish, oil reserves will not finish in no way. And in so many ways, the more CO2 we produce and the more salty seas we produce, the more oil reserves we create for the next generation. But now we have the opportunity, instead of refining oils from which we dig out from the ground, decide directly from the point of development what type of oil we want. I have shown this to the knowledge seekers. If you remember the first reactor they built for production of CO2, the half Coca-Cola bottles and half all the drinking bottles, they were like string type wires which were coated, very much like the fiber of a plant. So the oil they are getting on the top layer is very soft, it's very gentle. That's what we see with the oil protein from the plants. That's why there is no much, there is oil in the plant, in the seed, but very soft, different way, very much different characteristics. In the system which I built, actually the system which the knowledge seekers built with the curly wires which Armand made, we see the copper production, but still oil has, on the top layer, has a different characteristics. This is again is very much like human tissue. And the man texture. So it shows that we can dictate what type of oil we want to produce. So if you want a specific characteristics oil with copper in it or nickel in it, I've shown it to the knowledge seekers yesterday, the day before, that for example they see an oil texture on top of their blocks, but if you take a wire and zip through the oil, you see that the oil is green too. So it means oil carries copper content in it. So this copper content, you add another elements and conditions to it. It shows the connection of the interaction or linkage between the GANs of copper and the protein. And then if you add and take this and add other the conditions to it, potassium, zinc, magnesium, then you understand how the protein and the physical structure of the man over billions of years on this planet, due to different conditions and environment, has been created. So copper has linked up in a GANs state with a protein molecule, which is the Earth has produced itself. And so it's very easy now to explain the development of the life on this planet. In the next test which we will do, Armand is building a very beautiful new box. And yesterday we sat down and discussed how we're going to use this box. Now we're going to introduce deliberately like potassium, magnesium, and zinc and that kind of thing in different lineage of the box. And then with this, we will show how human life started on this planet, because the way he set up this reactor, it gives us that opportunity to literally show the creation on this planet. So the technology development is going from one page to another. The other thing which has come up very interesting is we have been approached, and the foundation has been told that a number of PhDs is getting launched around the world for investigation as PhD thesis by different universities around the world to look into different aspects of the technology, especially the medical aspects. So now a handful of universities around the world now have managed to raise finances to do PhD research on the development of the technology. In due course, we will announce as these courses start and these researches start. I go back on a lot of things which needs to be clarified since last talk. We had a special presentation on the 18th and the 19th, and then we disclosed a lot of things, especially to do with the situation with the Keshe Foundation and my position with regarding the Belgian government. What I would like to do, as you've done before, please section from now on, section by section, and don't mix the things together. We go back on the position in respect to the Keshe Foundation and my private life, or my life and my wife's life, with the Belgian authorities, with the police. After the disclosure of the documents on the Friday, within a couple of hours after the disclosure of the police documents, I received a call from the police, and following it, we received an email on the following Monday that our presentation at the police station in Belgium was delayed to the 9th of May, which is next Friday. And I asked Marek to copy it, and he can post it now that you can see it. And very strangely, against every international law, shows the criminality of the police situation in Belgium. It's in the paper. No lawyer can be present when they are interviewing me, which they've done the same thing with everybody else, because it's one officer, Mr. Delannoy, does the interviewing himself, and he makes all the threats. And he does not give any paper to nobody that they can carry what they've said. And in all the interviews he's done, he makes all these threats and all these presentations himself, threatening people that they're going to be arrested, and if they tell us, they're going to have a problem. A legal case has started in Belgium against Mr. Delannoy, making this threat and causing problem by lawyers. So now you see what we tell you. In every international, except kangaroo courts in Africa, which is done by dictators, every man is allowed to be presented and have a lawyer present when he's interviewed. And now the Belgian authorities tell us this is illegal. So it shows the fraud. It's on the paper, you can read it, which is posted. So now we see, and now you have the proof of it. This is on a legal email from the police in Belgium. This is a criminal act against any human being not being presented when he's interviewed by officer and all the threat made. Then, following our disclosure, and I know you have put the emails of the Interpol and the Belgian police on the different websites that people, and I know, for example, from China, from India, and different part of the world, thousands of emails were sent to the police and Interpol that why Mr. Keshe to be arrested and the way you put your ways and your knowledge. And out of nowhere, 2 days ago, I received a telephone call, private call again from Mr. Delannoy, which was not responded to because I wasn't available, but I received an email. Very strange enough. Read, can you post the second one, please? It's been posted that If you read the first email, it says that if I not appear in the police station, this is the last opportunity, and I was told on the phone by Mr. Delanois, on the 9th, if I'm not there, he can issue the warrant for my arrest in Italy. Then now, when the email which you received 2 days ago, you can read it. The most criminal case, as you see in the police evidence, a man who's a fraud, a man who is, he's been to my neighbors and everyone in the area of Belgium to say I'm on the run, a man who's on the run and the police knows where he is, a man who's done everything wrong. Now in the email of 2 days ago, you can read it, he gives a criminal the opportunity to choose the time when he can go to Italy, sometime maybe in June or after. And then suddenly out of nowhere, he has got a very important case that he cannot interview me on the 9th. What does this mean? This means that your work has worked. Your pressure, your information, release of the truth, that what we are and how we work has worked. But doesn't mean that the process has stopped. This is a buying time till they can do the job. So please do the following. Send a copy of these emails and what is on the text, what I've told you now and before, to Court of Human Rights in Den Haag, to European Court of Justice. These are the criminalities which is done against scientists around Europe. I'm not the only one. Some have been killed and some have been pressurized to do the things they want to do. So I ask you, please, send a full copy of these and the disclosure you've done, that how we have to become criminals due to the fact of one group of criminals. This has to be exposed, and please ask for investigation into the conduct of not only Mr. Delanois about this case, but about other cases who and which him and his people have done in Belgium regarding the murder cases. They call this in the police force of Belgium perfect murders. The police plans the murder through people like Mr. Delanois. They execute it, and then Mr. Delanois, the murder investigator, investigates his own murders which he has organized and his team have organized. This is how it's been done. This is why there is never investigation, because they say the police investigation shows this and that. They produce the arms, they allow the criminals to carry out the murders, or they use their own private trained marksmen to do the job. And then, because they investigate their own murders, they cover everything up. Mr. Delanois has been present in 2 of my assassination attempts. Out of nowhere, in disguise, under hat and God knows glasses and everything else. If you're a clean police officer, you don't hide yourself when you're presented in a situation. So my asking goes to you people. I know thousands of emails have been received by the Federal Police of Belgium and Interpol. We request into investigation of all the cases Mr. Delanois has been involved in, or has a contact, or has been through investigating led to the others. Mr. Dirk Lorentzens and me can give the name of a case which a Russian girl was murdered, and then the witness, which was made up witness to close the case, was then 2 weeks later was killed in jail, was arrested under no cases by Mr. Delanois structure, the way they set it up, and the gentleman was then murdered by accident in prison. Perfect murder. Both Mr. Dirk Lorentzens and 2 other people can release the names to the police, to the Interpol, and to Den Haag Court of Justice. So we are opening the books of how it's done. Now you have to understand the reason for these actions. The reason for these actions initially started. Mr. Delanois in the police of Belgium is a foot soldier. And at the same time, he trains police officers within the Belgian police force in Brussels. So he trains his own people who carry the perfect murders. And we got to know this when the day before they came to kill me, when they attacked my wife, a man turned up in my house as a police officer with another police officer with a hat on his head. And the way he sat on the table, I requested from our security people to analyze the psychology. And they told me immediately that he's a marksman. He's come to assess how to kill you very soon. Make sure you're not available anywhere. And by accident, I was on home when this gentleman and Mr. Delanois with 6 other people turned up to make an accident that I could be shot, resisting whatever they wanted to do. And then when my wife managed to get herself together and took the video, he took big pictures of Mr. Delanois running away from the scene and hiding behind the wall. A police officer, which is correct, he is not hiding, does not hide. So again, please ask from the court of Den Haag for investigation into all the murders. Now is going beyond the boundaries of the Belgium. Now they are carrying these murders outside. Mr. Delanois is a foot soldier. The boss for the Mr. Delanois is Mr. Hans Brackenier, who is now a member of the Commission of European Space Agency. I have made this clear. A lot of people send me emails. Why do you trust NASA? NASA is the worst than a lot. But my friends, NASA is the better of the others when you know what is happening. The reason Keshe Foundation under no circumstances will collaborate with European Space Agency is not because of Mr. Hans Brackenier, who's got himself into there, because now, while releasing the name of scientists who work with us or work with the European agencies who are sitting there, now we set the trap for other scientists to be murdered. And Keshe Foundation would not give such opportunity to this man. Mr. Hans Brackenier has to be removed from European Commission. Now he has access to all the scientists, what they are doing, and the same terrorist activities against me and other scientists who have been murdered now is getting carried out to the other nations. I have made this accusation over 2 years, and Mr. Hans Brackenier, as a lawyer, has not taken a single action against me because he knows what he told me, that is, I'm going to get killed in front of my wife, and that's why they are trying to eliminate me and my wife. Keshe Foundation will not put the life of other scientists at risk. And for this reason, we will not collaborate with European Space Agency as long as this criminal, Mr. Hans Brackenier, is within the Commission. I ask you, please send all this detail to the European Commission too, Space Agency. They have to know who's sitting on the board and how they are releasing their name to them, and they can be abused. We did the same thing. We know this process because this is exactly, if you remember, I requested His Excellency President Ahmadinejad and his eminence, Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, 2-3 years ago. Please do not release any more name of Iranian nuclear physicists to no one. That's how they got their name and addresses, and they start killing us like flies 4 or 5 years ago. And now this process is getting repeated through Mr. Hans Brackenier through European Space Agency. Leading space scientists, doesn't matter in which sector, now their lives is in danger with him being in position, and Mr. Delanois, the foot soldiers in the Belgian police force. But the whole thing comes out how they're carrying this thing out. Mr. Delanois uses him as Belgian government instruction. This is what he told me. He's received an instruction from Belgian government to investigate. This is his word to me. And all communications to me are recorded by a number of agencies, so they know exactly correct. And they use as their condition that they are correct is by the name of the king. So the king of Belgium, ex-king of Belgium, is getting benefited by all this theft of knowledge and theft of wealth from the wealthy people around the world now. In the past, the kings used to have knights and kill and rob and take what they like. Now they become intelligent and sophisticated. Now they use the knowledge, patent rights, intellectual rights, which they steal from the others, to get wealthy. Look into the KVK, which is a company registration of the Belgian government. Ask the Interpol to do so. How come Mr. Hans Brackenier, sitting as a director of nearly 200 companies on the edge of science, and he's a shareholder or a director, check into the life of the scientists who came up with these patents. On the other hand, IWT, which is a financier of the research for scientists in Belgium, which Mr. Hans Brackenier sits as a lawyer for this organization, How many scientists have disappeared who have submitted things and their projects has been rejected because Mr. Hans-Berkenier could not take a lion's share? This happened to me when I was told to meet him, and that's how I was threatened to be killed, and that process has not stopped. So we put a closure to this position. Please, now you're trying to be scientists with us. Now you're trying to bring your reactors to us. Now you're doctors who want to do PhD and disclose further into the medical and different aspects of this technology. If we do not stop or get the investigation done by this group of criminals, being the ex-King of Belgium, being Mr. Hans Brackenier, being Mr. Delanoë, a number of police officers within the Belgian force, these are a team, and they have their own prosecutor to give it a good look, then I put your lives in danger. We have to stop the process. And the process now has come to Europe from Belgium, but these people have been operating on different names around the world. As we've been in Italy, an Italian guy told me when we were in Sicily, we become educated. We don't need to kill and murder. Now our children have become intelligent, they're educated, they're scientists, they're doctors. Now we use intellectual rights. Now we understand how it's done. Please send as much information as you can to these organizations, especially as European Space Agency. You know how correct we are. I put the name of the Mr. Stephen Hawking and the way they operate in intellectual right and peer review, and I put his name in my book, and we've seen it for 3 years. We have published his name, and such an eminent scientist has not even asked to send a letter. He just hiding behind the woods, within the wormholes, in a way which he created himself. But this time the wormholes sit in the seats of the Cambridge University, where he's hiding himself. You will see Mr. Delanoë, Mr. Hans Brackenier, and the Kings, they try to hide. But these people cannot hide because they've killed too many people. And this process has to stop through the European Court of Justice. And through this is a crime against humanity. When a scientist is killed, us as a human race suffer for it because we don't gain the knowledge. The European Court of Justice, the Human Rights Court in Den Haag, should not be for people like Saddam Hussein or people of Africa or African presidents or ex-communist leaders. Has to be equal and for everyone. So the life and the process of the ex-King of Belgium has to be investigated. We have disclosed about this. We asked for the blood test of the ex-King of Belgium. And that has to be made public for the cases which are hanging and covered up under diplomatic cover. There is no diplomatic cover. It has to be correct and it has to be done. Then what it is. I made a call to His Eminence, the Pope. Your Eminence, you said that you will solve the problems with the pedophile cases. The case of the King of Belgium is connected to the case of the priest who's pedophile and is hiding in a church in Bruges. You allowed it to happen. Please withdraw the protection from this priest, then the rest of the books can be opened up. Honesty has to be not just for the South American priest or the American priest or the Irish priest. This has to go to this guy who's hiding in the church, in the house of God in Belgium. Then you understand how their feeding supply has been. The church has been a source of feeding children to the king, and now these people are using the weakness in the king to achieve what they want with the scientist. So it's become a full circle. So I have requested, and I request through different channels, for a meeting with the Pope, His Eminence. He has received the peace treaty, and he's aware of my last letter in my name. So we close this case. But please, European Space Agency, all the directors and the workers at the European Space Agency have to be informed who's sitting amongst them, because all their life sciences are in danger. The European Court of Justice, the Human Rights Court of Justice in Den Haag, has to be completed. What happened? Actually, apparently, John just caught a fly, exactly like Mr. Hans Brackenier in flight. And that's why they're laughing. So please send all emails to Human Court of Justice. And we have to close this case because we want to open this science to every man, the way we disclose it. Nobody opens science the way we have and the knowledge seekers are doing. I can hear you. Now we have a very important announcement to make. This announcement has been very much pushed forward by what has happened in the Space Institute in past 2.5 with the knowledge seekers. As we were not sure of our own personal situation, we had to delay a lot of things till we could find certainty and solidity and we could go ahead. Now that a lot of things are going the way it should do and should be, that the knowledge becomes available and we have to teach numbers in the large mass numbers, I'm proud to announce, and we took the steps to make sure that the knowledge is distributed in a very correct way. The Keshe Foundation, as of this week, has an institute, university structure as building classrooms and as a campus, as a university, residential facilities. I took the knowledge seekers to see the premises yesterday. If you can post it, please. And it's a beautiful, is it there? No, just the pictures. No, we have accommodation for up to 80 students within the campus. We have auditorium, a few good lecture rooms, and the new seat of institute as a university is near Lake Lagarda. We have all the facilities for laboratories to be built in it, and the beauty of it is fully furnished and ready to use, which means we come operational agreement on the 15th of September as a university, as an institute, research institute. We have accommodation to accept on these premises up to 500 and plus student teaching. Part can live in and part can live outside. But we have what we call a structural development, which means number of the knowledge seekers who are here, they become the teachers in the institute. And very soon this week, now that we have sorted our position, hopefully with this situation with the Belgian police, the new knowledge seekers next few days will be called in if they want to join in June. There is a lot of question, how can we cover the expenses of these people? Now that we become an institute, we release documents that you can request for grants and other things from your governments and from your local authorities, or raise funds to be a student. The structure of the new university is very simple. We've seen this now with the knowledge seekers. It was an experience we had to go through. Spending a year or two at the foundation is good for the ones who are devoted to humanity and knowledge. But for other people who have families and they have businesses and they have surgeries to run, we are planning to accept up to 100 knowledge seekers on a monthly basis. So it means every month, because we have the accommodation in the university, the 100 scientists can join us to stay with us for a month or two, and then they can go back and come back next 6 months or the next year. So the training will go on that way. We keep about 150 at least 1 year or 2 year resident students, but we allow 100, 200 monthly inflow of scientists. So you can come up and add up, you can come up and teach us what you have as a knowledge in different aspects. The classrooms and the lecture rooms have been video released by Marek now on the website, is it? But the pictures, yeah, they are posting, yeah? Yeah, they are posting the pictures which John and Marek took yesterday as we went around the compound. So you can roll in for 1 month. All the fees and everything will be done. They'll be assessed, we know, within the next day or two. But this has raised a huge problem for us. The foundation needs human resources to handle different aspects of the management and running of this structure around the world. This is the first institute building which we have taken. Most probably this will be the European center. But the students we teach here within the next 6 months, 12 months, then they become, and we hope to open institutes in different countries. Been offered lands and properties by different wealthy people around the world over the past 3-4 years. Now we spread the knowledge and technology to these countries through these positions. So this is the original institute building and a site and a teaching center. Now we have access to a university in Africa, which we can use as a teaching center in the university, and there are a couple of other places which people have donated properties and land to the foundation to become the teaching centers or institute centers. So as of this week, we have become an institute as a teaching center. The university institute is open. Mr. Cho in China should have received documents to start the institute website in China, that we do not get attacked in Europe. So you can send your request to be a 1 month student and teach and learn. When you come here, don't expect any books and writing and formulas. Nobody here up to now has written a single formula with the knowledge seekers. So now this becomes your position. We can accommodate up to 100, 150 monthly residents and up to 150 or 200 annual 1 year, 2 year teaching. And then you can stay with this institute, or you can go back and teach to others, and we add a structure. Number of the knowledge seekers who are around this table will be offered a permanent position as teachers within the institute. So that was the reason we started with 8. Now the second group of teachers or knowledge seekers will join us in June, hopefully. And then in September we accept, the enrollment is open as of now. I'll leave it to Mr. Cho in China and the Chinese Keshe Foundation people to set up the structure as soon as possible. We come back to something very important. We announced that the Knowledge Seeker Center is open and belongs to everybody. We've had a number of people who turned up here in past few weeks or past week or so, and we allowed some people to come through the doors. But this cannot be done because it interrupts a lot of things. We allow you to come into the new University Institute, but please allow us to do our work. We are not a tourist center. We had a group of Italians who turned up, a journalist and 2 or 3 other people, but it was a blessing when they came. So we post their videos. We had Yvonne Michel's wife here, Marie Christine, as from the Belgium. And we had the pleasure and pure luck to have a surprise visit by Elia, Dr. Elia, who I admire her work. She was in the center on Sunday. So she said, if Bulgarians know I've been here, they kill me. I said, now you can go and kill her. We have videoed her. She's been in the lab, she's been in the institute. But from now on, we have to bring organization. Nobody can turn up just because we are here. You endanger our work, you endanger our security, you endanger the way we are researching. So we need somebody in the organization to help to make appointment for visitors who like to visit us. We are not the monkeys in the cage to be watched in the zoo. And so we need our space to work. But still, we don't put a ban, but if you're a knowledge seeker, if you're somebody who has a research development you want to discuss, you're welcome. We had scientists from the government here in the past couple of weeks, and our researchers, which is undertaken by major world governments now through Keshe Foundation materials. So the knowledge, then the door is not just open to people, it's open to the governments. And as I said, we received offers for PhDs to be done by universities. We are very open, we are not afraid of failure, but we are afraid of interruption. So if you want to be a knowledge seeker for a month, you can reside within the campus of the new building, new institute in Italy. You can get a 1-month visa as a visitor to be here to learn, and at the same time you live within the structure of other scientists. This institute has become the center of excellence for scientists around the world who want to open the door to space for mankind. And we keep it that way. We are colorblind, we are religious blind, we are skin colorblind, we are political affiliation blind. As long as you are correct and honest with yourself and your government and your humanity, your doors of the Institute are open with you. Now, any questions?
Mr. Keshe, I had a question.
I think there is nobody online.
Mr. Keshe, I had a question. I had a question regarding the setup of the Spaceship Institute that you speak of. Is that as a non-profit entity, or what would be the category, or how would people be able to?
We are non-profit. The Keshe Foundation has been that way. I've done everything in past. I sold my books. I gave lectures. I use the medical part for research. We take, me and my family take what we need at the point of need. We don't, as I said before, because the Keshe Foundation at the moment is only me and it's only under one control, I've closed all my private accounts except one we had to open in Italy just because we moved here, that there is no claims what I do and where the money is going. We even keep we go to McDonald's, we keep a receipt. One day nobody comes and says, oh, you've been to McDonald's, you stole money. Our account is fed up of receiving even when we go shopping, because we keep it clear. And it isn't non-profitable. Everything we do goes back into research and work. We had to organize accommodation like this because when we came to Italy, we had a plan. And when we saw this place, the first reaction of Caroline and me was that this makes a beautiful place for the center. It's worth going for it. And now you've seen it. The knowledge seekers are here. And now this has become a bouncing ball for the Institute now, which we've taken over to literally take physically over from the September the 14th. We are a non-profitable, but what you call a non-profit. We make profit, but the research has to be made and it pays for expenses. The what do you call it? The energy reactor, which is in the center, which I explained to you, is gonna, what do you call it, carry the first GANS material. This reactor has cost the foundation now nearly 50,000 euro. Where is the money coming from? Nobody has donated 100 million or 10 million to us. Because we've seen a small donation of 5 and 10 euro, 100 euro, 50 euro in past 2 months, 3 months. We have supported the foundation for nearly 10 years for his work. The they from research has to be paid for. We have a very, very funny situation. People go and find the Keshe Foundation. They write an email to us that I have such a disease. Yes. And then we say, okay, we are researching, we would like to look at the disease, but we have no knowledge, we are not doctors. We explain the truth exactly where we sit. And then the reaction is, you have to make a system for me, I don't need to pay. I said, where is the system where the money is coming to pay for this? Where is the money coming to pay for everything else? No, 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 you have to pay for it. How? Where from? From a bank to give you? I said, if you are such a good person, go and find somebody who donates money to you and go and find the solution yourself. We live at a time and a place. People say, why don't you make gold? Do you want me to make enough gold that your house worth nothing? We can produce whatever we like now. But at this moment, it's the way the operation is done, and then time will change. It goes back to, if you, as I said in my last message, it says in my name, if you are a Messiah, why don't you do everything? Oh my God, you haven't even understood what has been coming. I go back to this position of the last in my name paper. A lot of people have made a lot of comments. When Elia was here, she asked me again and again, and she's online, she can confirm it. Please make this position clear. A lot of people are asking about this message. The message is very clear. A lot of people say, Mr. Keshe says, we are all Messiah. We are all Messiah to the level you understand, not beyond. It's my job to open your eyes to beyond and understand. This is very, very clear point. I was giving an example to somebody past couple of days regarding this message. The man on earth is like the time when man was in a village on a donkey, but knew there is a city and there are cars and there are jetliners. But he's never been on. He's just been on a donkey, and he knows the donkey can go through any place he could do in his village, like the village of the earth. When he comes to town, he wants to get in a car. We give you the car, but you have to understand there is an ignition, there is a clutch, there is a gearbox. The guy from a donkey doesn't have those in a donkey. He goes, he stops or goes. You lot have been living in the village of the earth with a donkey. We are showing the car, how the car is done and what are the conditions of operating it in different aspects. How to use it. You have a diesel car, when you want to fly, you use a jet engine. But just because you've been in your village and you've seen the aircrafts flying over the village hasn't made you a pilot. But once we teach you these things, once the way I'm showing you the equipment to make these cars and these flying systems, then there is another part. You call it the religious part. You call it the soul, the condition of the order. When you have the car, there are rules. You can't go on the street and just drive. There's a traffic light, there's a left-hand drive, you have to put an indicator, you have to respect the passengers passing. You call it a faith, you call it a prophet. Now, not only I have to teach you how to make these cars, and different cars for different purposes, I have to teach you the conduct of coming and from a village into a city, and the behavior and the conduct in the city. Otherwise, you get run over with your donkey and you're dead. It's as simple as that. Not only I have to teach you how to do these things, but I have to teach you the conduct of the operation once you use these. And these machines are made, these systems, these technologies built and taught to you lot to make you open to join the space. You're not the only ones in the space. There have been millions of years before you lot. But it has rules. Now we teach you the rules when you come in. This is the difference. You are Messiah as much as you can understand. The boundary beyond it when we take you out has to be opened up and it has to be taught. Play the game whatever you like. It will not change. We are just teaching you how to build systems mechanically in a way you understand according to your intelligence. But what's the purpose? The purpose is to go into the city. The city is the expanse of universe. But it has traffic lights, it has a conduct, it has people who are aggressive, it has people who are laws and enforcers. You have to be taught exactly why and how to do it. Otherwise you'll be dead. The part of the control I teach you is physicality. The part of the control I teach you is through understanding there is no physicality in the space and how you have to interact. Everything is fresh. And in being freshness is the change which has been promised and it'll come. It's not another banana and a different variety of oranges. You have thought, you think you know everything, but you know nothing, and the wealth on this planet does not worth a cent anywhere in the universe. The world leaders know what's happening. All this fighting in Ukraine is for what? Guys, Your Excellency President Obama, Your Excellency President Putin, we give you the universe. These tools of war, with one stroke of a pen, I can stop. You have not even understood what's on the floor of the laboratory. But I have to be in your position that you lot have to understand your ways. I brought officials here last week when the school was closed. I told them and I request them and I show them, and the knowledge seekers have seen it but they never understood it. The light on the ceiling of the lab start coming on. And we saw it again last night because one of the reactors we haven't loaded, but we saw this repeat of the same thing, that the fluorescent tubes about 4 or 5 meters above us comes on. We saw the penetration of the plasma when the reactors were running the day before, the 2 days before we leave for holidays, interfering with the chemtrails above the area of the institute. And the way they were opened up. Dr. Michel was there, they saw it, I think Arman was there, and we saw it. And we saw the same effect about 20 kilometers away in the direction of the reactors. The penetration of the plasma is beyond the building. So I asked the authorities, the officials which are our contact with the government, the space over Keshe Foundation Institute has become a test zone area. And since we don't see much flight on the short long, below certain levels. Governments understand what they are doing. They are supporting us, but they're keeping in silence till we can open up in the correct way. When you touch a chemtrail 10 kilometers above and only over the space you're operating has no meaning but to show the plasma is effective enough. This is exactly the magnetic field of the sun that spans billions of kilometers in the space. Now we are making a copy of it. But now you understand you can affect hundreds of kilometers away. There is a rule of conduct. Very soon, within the next few weeks, we start teaching you the rule of conduct. I teach this to the knowledge seekers here every time there is a chance. When you have children, you have to bring them all up the same, equal as a correct father. And it's the same with the humanity and the rest of the creation in the universe. You come out with a donkey, you get run over, there is no sign of you, you're finished. And especially if you're carrying your children and your parents with you in it on the back of the donkey. The whole race is gone. And this cannot happen to the man. Don't get excited and don't go back and do all sorts of things that you are this and that. Soon, and those who are in a position of power understand what we are doing. The message is very clear. For you to understand me, I have to walk your ways. Otherwise, it's not a wonder magic. And throw a, just to shake a wand and the whole thing comes up. The process is the progressive development of intelligence of man according to his own understanding. Some of you understand. Some of you in China understood fully. As you know, in China and in other parts of the world, a lot of scientists are replicating and working and teaching the technology. I was just explaining before we start this session to the knowledge seekers. The American government and authorities decided to stop the books, delivery of the books which we sold in certain part of the world to the countries. Like in America, people would not receive their books. This had two purposes. By blocking the books, this is exactly what the Belgians did. We have hundreds of books sitting in the central post office of Belgium. We paid for it. My wife is laughing because they literally, any book we sent out, they blocked it and they kept it to two things. First of all, they put the knowledge out, and secondly, make us discredit they're stealing money. But what I did, the American people who bought books from us, they wrote email to me that we are not receiving our books, you're a crook. I instructed my dispatch, you send as many books to America till one gets through. Doesn't matter how much it's going to cost the foundation, we pay for it. So what they did last week, they sent the second book out. And I said, we wait another 2 or 3 weeks, we send a third one out till one gets through to the people, because we keep our commitment to what we sold. Strange enough, now you are people, you listen, you know who you are. There's quite a lot of you. Now you receive 2 copies of the book, a second copy, because they realize what we are doing. So now, suddenly out of nowhere, in a matter of a couple of days, you're receiving 2 books. The books you ordered a couple of months ago is not coming through. With us taking the right action without attacking anybody, now you receive 2 books. And you've been honest enough to write back to me that we received the second book, but we paid for one. How can we return it back to Nino or send it to the publishers, to the, dispatch? I wrote to all of them. Give the book, a gift to a man who might add to his knowledge freely. So, in a way, by blocking us, now more people gain knowledge because now they have the book to read. We won't fight. We find a peaceful solution to everything. This is how it's done in the space. This is where I'm taking you to. But I have not to teach you only how to make protein to feed yourself, how to energize your system, how to fly, but I have to tell you, when you come out to the city, oh boys, you've seen nothing in the village. It was donkeys and horses and cows and chickens. Now you have Rolls Royces and you have jetliners, which you cannot even imagine. There you sleep on a what do you call it? Hay, straw bed. Here they have waterbed jets and all sorts. It doesn't change the man. It only adds to the intelligence of man that there is another direction, another dimension. So stop playing these games. Those who understand, understood, and they do. I have made a plea to His Eminence Pope. The war in what is boiling out in Ukraine can be stopped only by one man. Both are Christians, both sides of the fence, in different names. His Excellency Pope, His Eminence Pope, has to give one instruction: use of arms is against the law of Christ. Now let's see which man takes the arm up. This is the job of the religious leaders. The way they say they wash the feet of a man and a woman and say it's new, the new direction has to be any man carries arm is against the law of Christ. And then you see where the war is. When they see there'll be no more war. They have a purpose. His Eminence, Pope, is coming from military section of the Christianity within the Catholic Church. He's the first man who's been chosen out of the army of the Catholic Church. He understands what it means, and he knows what it carries. As a general, as a top man in this military force, you know exactly what it means when the general sends an instruction. Make it a rule by the Vatican that it's forbidden for every man or any man to carry arms. And now you see if the war in Ukraine will carry on anywhere. They'll find a peace way to do it. Now, is there any question?
Mr. Keshe, it's Vince. You were stating
yes,
that...
Vince, you're a team leader in the questioning.
Thanks. When you were talking about how the plasma can interfere with hundreds of kilometers, is that also why you were stating that you cannot travel straight vertically up? You have to have at least a little bit of an angle so that you're always interacting with the same magnetic gravitational field of the Earth instead of with the magnetic gravitational field you're creating that's going straight up?
Partially, yes. You're the first one who understood this. Partially, yes. One of the things I told to the knowledge seekers yesterday when we were on the new site of the Institute is one of the reasons we chosen this area is that we are about 150 meters away from Lake Lagarda, where there is no population on the lake. This allows us free testing without endangering any life over the lake. For these kind of tests, for submergence and upcoming, because you will see beautiful conditions when you submerge. Even when you submerge into the liquid of the lake, you can't go vertical down. You go in an angle, and when you come out the same way, but you'll see a beautiful light combination between the, it's like a reverse vortex. But it's a beautiful way to look at it, and you will see it. And part of the system, when you come out, you will see a different lighting system which you are used to as the plasma interacts with the minerals of the water in the lake. The test flights not only over the Sansano, but over the lakes will be open to us. There is no way to stop the progress of the development of the technology. But we are doing it very amicably with the full information to the people who are the link between the foundation and the Italian government and other governments. You have to take angle, you have to, as I said this before, a man who takes off vertical in these systems is like a man who goes on top of Eiffel Tower and jumps without a parachute. There is a chance of you might survive, but it's very remote. Vertical takeoff it can be done, but it's a bit too dangerous. Pardon?
I think that was just some interference there. But that's strictly because there's no way to alter the field fast enough because you'd be traveling inside your own plasma, which...
You are the first one who understood. It's done. It is done. It is not something which is not done. It's done, but it's preferable not to be done. There is a technique. I set the reactors before the holidays, and I explained to the knowledge seekers. We set a central core hanging in the middle with 3 cores in the star formation. We put Marcos system next to one of the 2 base reactors, and then we put Jorge's reactor in front of it. Yes, Jorge reactors in front of it. And I explained to them why it's done. This is what is known as the high speed protection travel, where you keep your central core, but you create a plasma, less friction in travel, but then you can go into principal, magnetic field strength. And then you can go with a very high speed, with a minimum friction in the direction of the motion. These are the things which, in a way, the knowledge seekers here have to learn and to teach. You set your reactors in different combination. Yesterday, I explained to Marco, because his reactor was set as a second center in respect to the energy system in the middle, that one of the reasons we are not getting a full response condition is because principal reactor and Marco's reactor were at the same height and are nearly the same dimension. So we created a twinity condition. So all the fields were literally locked into this system in the twinity star situation, with literally 1, 2, 3, with the 4 reactors outside, 2 in between the 2 twin stars. So we are holding all the field inside. So I asked Marco to drop his reactor down to the level of the other 4. And so now we have one star formation, which is one central core. You can do a lot of different operations. In getting more and more reactors, if you people around the world get your reactors working and bring it here, we can replicate the structure of an atom. We use each reactor as one of the electrons, and some as a proton and as a neutron. Then we can see magnetic structure of the atoms as a field, not as a matter, because these things are made of different materials, plastic or copper, but once they create a field, they create the gravitational magnetic field of the plasma of the atom. In the future, in the new institute, we have a huge land area. We can test these things. You invite all the scientists to come with their reactors. I was told we received one from Malta yesterday.
I received this sphere, the copper sphere.
Copper sphere from Malta. We had a very nice experience. We have 2 labs here, and there's a small office in front of one of the labs. And I know there's been a curiosity of the few of these guys there is a reactor from Malta in the office. And I've seen them, they always wanted to know what this reactor is. It was my curiosity to see, what is this reactor Maltese brought for us on the 21st of April. So we had the courage to put it on the table and open it. It was wonderful. It was empty. It was just a casing, but it was very nice the way it was done. It looks very professional from outside, but maybe we didn't understand the thinking behind it by our Maltese friends. But maybe we can use it as a reactor for next step, process. You have to understand how to replicate a structure of the atomic structure, nuclear structure. Then you replicated the solar system, you replicate the same as a universal system. There is a lot to teach, but if I do anything out of line, they tell me he's crazy or he's a magician. I talk the language you understand, and I show the things you understand at the moment you understand. And I try to prepare you for the next step along the way, for both ways, for your moral and your conscious and your what you call ethics, because you cannot run into a street without any ethics. You get run over like nothing if you don't respect the other cars crossing. The speed the man will achieve in the first stages of into space is nothing, but he'll be happy. He can go 10 times faster speed of the light. Oh boys, there are people who do millions of times faster. So little bicycle get run over very easy if you don't know which way is coming. The structure is very easy. There is something which I've been told, and I have to answer something about it because it's come. Why do we see suddenly so much rise in what they call UFOs and all sorts of lights and things around the Earth? Appearance, physical appearance of Messiah does not happen so often. And when it happens, it's like when somebody comes and now everybody in the village to go and see. People in this part of the universe are aware of the presence of what is to happen. So they are here as a witness. So those who understood the message understand what is going on. There will be radical increases, not only because you are testing, but at the same time, this is a unique opportunity at this time. The increase will be rapid and you will see it in time. And you understand the reasons. People understand what this has been said in past 2 minutes. So we have to teach you to be ready for a reunion, but at the same time, not all the men will understand. At the same time, a lot of men who are attached to physicality see this technology as a danger to their meager life. But we carry the good and the bad boy in the family and the good, that one day they all become good. And the ones who don't understand, will teach them a lesson by themselves. We don't touch. Time of punishment is finished. You punish yourself. And this is what I always say. So please understand, I try to speak your language the way you understand at the time you understand. There are those who absorb very quickly and analyze it because of different speciality. Next question.
Hello, here I am Vitor from Portugal.
Yes,
and I
Victor.
have
Yes.
very nice to talk to you. It's a pleasure. I have a question about mixing two different guns in a ping pong ball, for instance. Can we obtain a plasma rotating that ball?
Of course. Of course you do. It's different magnetic fields, plasmas together. This is what I plan to do with the center core in the next few months. Oh. Hello. Oh.
Sounds of lots of noise.
Hello. We can't hear you.
Yeah, it's lots of
There's, we are back again. And, yes, okay. No, if you heard me, this can be done. But you have to understand the consequences of what you're doing. And especially if you start playing with the GANs as a dynamic core, understand that the structure of your body is made of the same. Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes. I'm hearing you.
So be very careful. Just don't jump in the deep end and think you're doing something good. You have to understand the structure. This is what I did in the lab when the knowledge seekers came back. Now that we are going into the plasma condition, I have put a plastic mat on the floor in front of each control panel. And I've told them, every time you touch the control panel and you stand, you have to stand on this because you have to make an interruption with the flow of the plasma, the same as you do with the current. It's not that you don't stop it, but you create a variation, which that difference will allow a lot of things not to happen. Now you have a gravitational magnetic flow through the environment. These are the things which you have to learn, but understand what you are doing before you go and do things.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next question. Anything else? Have we had enough today?
I could ask one more, please.
Yes.
About the light. I've been reading your book, the first one, and you tell about the expansion of the universe, that you can see the red shifting and the blue shifting. I think I got it right. Depending on the point of view, you will see the red or the blue, because the blue was the getting away, and the red was the coming in, something like this. Sorry, my English. And I
Don't
would like
worry,
to know
you
if
speak better English than I do.
Thank you. Um, the sky, the light in the sky, the colors of the sky, do they look like this because of the same effect? Looking at the sun, is the rays coming and it's red, and the rest of the sky is the rays going out?
In so many ways, yes, but now you have to understand that what you call as a ray is both gravitational and magnetic. You see the balance between the two frictions. Now when you see the lights, you see different aspects of light. Very soon you will see new type of light, which is our brain needs to understand to process. These are the magnetic plasma lights, which the man is not used to so easily. But our brain very soon will adjust to it. So in a way, yes, but as I said in the recent talks or paper somewhere, that people say it takes the light from such a star so many million light years to get to us. This is a lot of nonsense, because as we are all made of the same, as I was explaining to you, between the brain in the control room here in the classroom and in the lab, is instantaneous. What we see is the residual of what has been left at the highest speed, and our brain can detect and absorb as a matter level. This changes a lot of things. It takes millions of light years. If you understand, and you can create your reactor at the same strength of the light which is coming to you, you can be in that star within seconds. These are the part of the science we never understood, now we understand. This is what we are doing in the reactors. In the reactors, the knowledge seekers are still they're half man and half plasma, half matter and half the spaceman, and they haven't managed to separate the two. And I see them making decisions in that way, but they have to make decisions, make their own mistakes and their own conditions to learn from. So therefore, what we did, we created the same condition in all the 6 cores on the floor, because they all carry the same kind of center core. 4 of them does, 5 of them do, and 1 doesn't, or 2 don't. Then we added hydrogen 2 measures in the center core. We made a measurement that all the reactors receive exactly the same thing. And then the next day or so, when they were loading, they loaded another 2 on. I explained to them, this is not the matter condition. You've got to add as little as possible. 1 would have been enough to compensate and 1 the second time. And then what we do, when we reach the plasma condition, we don't add any more fuel. We're adding any more hydrogen, it does nothing but killing. It's like putting water on a fire. And you started a fire, why do you want to put water on it? What you do in these conditions, you extract plasma from your reactor. You give the plasma a space to open up. So this is how you increase rapid speed production or rapid gravitational fields or rapid motion. You don't add fuel. This is the habit of the man, to put more in to get more out. With a plasma, what you do when you create the plasma, you know you reach the plasma condition, you extract the plasma, you extract, vacuum your plasma out of your core in a very measured way, that suddenly you go from matter strength into transition strength. So what you get is higher speed, because the more you go to the center, the stronger the fields. And this is how you control the direction of motion. You don't add fuel, you don't take fuel out. You play with the plasma dimension in magnetic gravitational field strength in respect to your center core, and as a totality in respect to the position where you want to be. And this gives you the speed thousands of times faster than the speed of light. This gives you central gravitational field within the center of the material itself, which is at 1G. This gives you a full protection system as magnetic field, dynamic magnetic field. One of the things now we are doing, hopefully when the 2 reactors, one is gone damaged now, one is John's, which has just come from Belgium, he's just built a new one. will be online. We're keeping one center core, which is the energy core. We're keeping the 3 cores at 120-degree spaceship, what do you call it, star formation. Then we are adding the other 3 in a second layer, like an electron. Now we're going to the second layer, second orbit, and amongst the 120 degrees of the two, the, what do you call it, star formation, we're putting 3 reactors out. So in a way, we start controlling the whole plasma in every aspect. And they're all at the same height. So the mother decides, then we can increase and do things. I have done something very funny, but it's not funny, but in a way, the knowledge seekers haven't got a grasp of it, but they know it's there. I have put a pallet outside in front of the lab. And I've told them, go and choose your pallets and put it wherever you like next to the center one, because very soon we have to tie the pallets together, because now the whole system will fly as one. We have a big enough, what do you call it, a door to move the system outside on the pallets, that it becomes one system to fly. What do you call it, a flying carpet on Iranian, but we call it a flying pallet. But once they achieve the condition, they can do so. And because the energy system has reduced the weight to near very light, we can move it around. We have seen now in 2 consecutive operation reduction in weight in small amounts in past couple of days. We have seen in the steps of 20 gram, and we lost about 80 gram yesterday, the day before. Now we set again, we lost 40 gram yesterday in the new setup. So we have started seeing the weight reduction in the center core in the smaller steps, and this is what in line with what I reported about 4 or 5 months ago when we were running the reactor. So we start seeing weight reduction in the small measures, but when we have a full formation, star formation, we will see like what we shown in the 18 to 16 kilogram. I explained to you in other talks that what I did, I just touched the reactor and they start coming, but people never understood what it means. When you touch the reactor, which is in a plasmatic condition, you take the fields up, so plasma without you actually going in needs to expand because it's lost the outer layer. So increases its gravitational magnetic field and you lose weight. And nobody understood this. And they said there is something wrong with the scale. No, all I did, I literally peeled up by touching it, the outer layer of the plasma from the core. And so the stronger field had to come to front or open up. This is what I explained to the knowledge seekers yesterday as well. And I put a little like a copper belt that we don't need to touch the reactors, because the minute you touch your core, you extract energy into different layers. So these are the things you have to watch. So we don't need to go and see if the reactor is running, because these motors now going into a plasma static condition. We don't know if it's working or not. We have to touch. Now there is a little like a copper wire bell. If it doesn't vibrate, it means the system has gone into static condition or the vibration stops, slows down. You learn slowly, slowly. We teach you everything, and now everything has been videoed. You learn through the videos. Watch the videos, understand the videos. Just don't grasp and let go. Next question.
Mr. Keshe, have you ever seen?
Sorry, I didn't have the live stream on. Let me just rephrase that. There's a question from Dave regarding whether the Italian commercial reactors, there's any news on that.
We asked for it yesterday, was it this week? I asked our connections which handle these things. And I was told we should be able to see something in the coming days or week, or they're going to ask the question, because it's not in our hand. These are commercial people and what do you call it? I have requested to see the reactor, so the minute I see it, you will know. And it's not in our hand, it's in the hand of these people who produce the engines. Actually, what I did with them is very strange. The knowledge seekers will tell you. They had a problem to get their heads around how to do things in a way. I said I want it to be made as cheap as possible that every Italian can have one. And we have a lot of these half spheres bought from IKEA. I gave them a small, 2 half a sphere, a small and 2 half a sphere. These are like sweet pots, but made of stainless steel. So they have a couple of cores for us. They don't need to wait, but they've developed a new way of doing it. So we have to respect them. But hopefully we should see something from them. I've been told they've been working on it. We have to work within the restriction. Don't forget that all our lines, all communication lines, emails are monitored, and these people call people back and put pressure on them. But now with the opening of the institute, these things are over. And now it's opening the institute further as an open space for knowledge seekers. We will be handled differently by different governments, but it's just an open knowledge. We are next week, next Thursday. I might have a very good news for part of the people in respect to Fukushima. The results. Sorry, carry on.
Will we be able to see some more of live video happening from the Spaceship Institute?
You got to ask your guys here, huh? They've been on holiday and hibernation.
Yes,
they're just waking up. You know the story of the God and the prophets. He said, we're gonna stop them. You lot come whenever you want. They close the gate of heaven after 2 o'clock, and there was nobody there, and they start dripping in after 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And God said, this cannot be done. 12 o'clock is 12 o'clock. It's like these guys. One turned up on Sunday, the other one came on Monday, one turned up on Tuesday. And we had Marek turned up yesterday. Today we're expecting Jorge. So it takes a long time for these guys to gather together.
I think
So
everybody. I think
today,
everybody needed a good vacation after especially the Good Friday talk.
no, I think they had 2.5 months of 12 hours of work every day.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
Last night I had to go in the lab and literally physically switch the lights off to get them out. They don't go. They come in and they just get glued to the floor. So
yes.
magnetized. So it is not easy. I understand these people come from totally different background, and you lot you want pictures, but you drop these guys in the deep end of a pool with no rope to save their lives. They're trying to catch as much as they can, but at the same time they're half man and a bit of a beast. They understand most of the matter, but they can't convert it into the plasma yet. And I see it and I say, you gotta understand where they're coming from. But in time they become good teachers because they understand the whole concept. And they're seeing it. Part of the thing wasn't to sit and read the books and line 2 what it says on the page 4. The whole thing was to work the way the universe does. Get involved and build it, and we were lucky enough to have so many reactors ready that we can put 7 on the floor. It takes months and years for research organizations to do these things. You build reactors, you know what it means. We have 7, we have 3 more, 4, actually we can put 5 more reactors on the floor in the next couple of weeks if we wish to. But it's no use crowding the space. Let us understand the basics slowly. We started with 1 reactor, which was American Armans. We added the Iranian reactor next to it. They ran for a couple of days. We understood part of the process. Now we have turned on 6 reactors on the floor, which all been videoed. They've been, actually, since they've been back, they haven't had much time upstairs in the what do you call it? in the room to be able to send things out, because the minute they arrive, I grab them and we go in the lab. Because the whole process now, next couple of weeks, is to work the, what do you call it, the reactors. So I don't think they'll have much time to send you pictures or whatever, because they don't get a chance to get out of the place. And they're all in the lab. But sooner or later you get the videos. We're gonna post a video of Elia. She's been here. She said, don't do it, they're gonna kill her. I hope she stays alive. We have visitors coming 12 o'clock today to see. We invited them. These are the people who have supported and worked with the foundation in Italy. We have a very good, deep support in Italian society and Italian community. The technology has been embraced by the scientists and the Italian nation. And this is one of the reasons we are here. We have access and line of communication when we need things, and it's been done. And they have devoted their time and life to the foundation, so we respect them. We had the same situation in Belgium till we had to go on exile. And we've seen the same kind of work with our friends in Holland. And I thank them for their support. You have to understand, most of the people in Holland has been silenced by the police with this man. They've been taken in and they've been told all sorts of things, and people are innocent. And because it comes from the Belgian police, nobody wants to be involved with this guy. And this guy is very threatening. So we've seen people like the woman who served us very well, Desiree, disappearing in the background, which is a shame. She's highly talented and she's highly respected by me. And the same with the people in Holland, and the same in Belgium. In a way, they tried to silence the technology, but it became bigger. Now we have an institute here, and now we have the site for the university or a Spaceship Institute. Already been agreed, so we are moving in. There is something I forgot to tell you. This is what we discussed. Well, by next Thursday, we announce it. We will. I'm giving a lecture in Tuscany on 21st, 22nd of June. It's a 700-seater conference hall. I think it's sold out already by the Italians, for the Italians. We will give a lecture in end of June and maybe the first or second week of July for the ones who want to come and see the new center. The lectures will be in the new center. At the same time, it'll be a full lectures. It's maybe the way we did with the Bulgarians, we were on maybe for 1 day, full day, not just the 2 or 3 hours of talk. So the Knowledge Seekers Space Institute, you can book a ticket, or you can we announce it on the foundation website. So we allow you to come and see the center at the same time to be organized, but we have to see if there are accommodation available in the center at that time. We cannot do it in August because it's a peak of holidays. There is no room available, and you won't even be able to get in the city. It gets all chock-a-block with holiday makers. We have brought the institute to one of the most beautiful parts of the world. Next question.
That sounds really, really good, Mr. Keshe. There was a question regarding Fukushima, and it wasn't clear whether you were going to mention something next week about that, or is there something else you wanted to say
what
about
happened,
Fukushima?
the Fukushima paper is complete. I wrote pieces of it. Dr. Ivan Michel corrected. As you know, my English is as good as my knowledge. It's no good for nobody at the moment. So he's corrected it. Marak has put a beautiful packaging with it in all the links and all the data from the research. We will release this paper most probably next week and our findings in it. There is a paper called something bacteria and viruses, which is to do with the space. And then there is a paper with the oil, which once Ivan is back, he'll correct it, we'll publish it. So the Fukushima paper, we are waiting for one piece of analysis to arrive. I already received part of it. And I've been told we'll have some news before next Thursday. And that will complete the paper. The Fukushima has taught us a lot and has confirmed a lot of things. And the Fukushima test, which was done by our dearest knowledge seeker, Yukako, has brought a lot of knowledge, which I will disclose step by step as we go further, because it has a lot of application in different aspects of the energy and production and nuclear testing. This will come. How many pages is the paper? Marek has got all of it. It's 16 pages, but it's, a lot of it is links that you can go and see things, which means we didn't need to write. It was the easy way. But Marek and Yukaku have done a lot of graphs in relating data and in connecting and understanding the data, which is, it's a very nice, it's one of the best papers, or actually is the way the paper was done by Marek. He set up the layout for it. It's a beautiful job. But you will get all that. Let us analyze. Paper like this takes a year or two to come out any other institute or any university. So we showed the data to the governmental nuclear physicists who came to the center. They agree with a lot of findings as to be what it is. They were surprised of our discovery. Marek and Yukako made a beautiful presentation to the governmental scientists, and they understood fully the situation with the material which arrived from Fukushima, because Yukako brought what do you call it, the sample waters from the what was supposed what do you call it, not supposed, what she tested it with the Fukushima water contamination. This is now in the hand of the governments, and are testing it independently and letting us know. Preliminary results are very promising, but we have to wait till we receive full data. As I told you, a lot of people make a lot of noise, we are this and that, but the knowledge seekers here, as part of their training, are learning how to handle officials and how to present and be in charge of their situation where they are. So they start seeing member of parliaments here who come and go. They start seeing scientific from organizations and different people as they come in. It's part of the training. It's part of them when they will be at the realm of the foundation as the knowledge seekers. They have to handle these situations. You cannot be that way. Not only we teach the ethics on the space, I teach them the ethics of the conduct of the world leaders and diplomats and scientists, and how to set a table of the communication, how to respect, and how to even shake hands with whom and how. These are part of the training which they are going through here in a very slow pace, not only in the lab, but when we have visitors and when we're getting more and more, they are learning how slowly to handle world diplomats and leaders and the scientists from governments. And we had them here, and it was very interesting, the data they received and the way the package was put together by Mark and Yukoko, and the way they presented it to the member of parliaments and the scientists from the government. They were shocked in what was disclosed and what we discovered and what was tested in Fukushima. The Fukushima knowledge now is in the hand of 3 governments, and we are waiting for their collective decision making or evaluation. And when we have it, we release it. But we delayed the paper, first of all, for the holidays. And secondly, now we have more data, because when we release data, it's supported by us. We are, put it this way, nobody can be authority in the knowledge which we discovered and we disclose, unless we teach them what to look for. So we are an authority independent in this field. And it's for the others to test and understand it and then compare it. In a way, the Foundation Institute and you as scientists around the world are setting the new benchmark for the new science. I hear you're testing different colors in different boxes. You're producing yellow and green and orange materials in different boxes. This is how it should be. But the beauty of it is that you're sharing it back with us. is not becoming patterns and hidden. And I thank you for your honesty and the way you're sharing knowledge with each other. We are monitoring, we're seeing things, but I think very soon World Wide Web will be covered with the different scientists with new technology and the way they are doing it. Next question.
On that, Mr. Keshe, I do have, I was going to ask a question of, have you ever seen a spider web kind of formation inside of your GAN's creation?
Yes, I showed, we showed
Okay.
the first, it's a cavity, it's a magnetic field hollowness. You see field and channels. This is something we saw, was it the first?
To Merrick. I'm not sure.
Pardon?
If he has that yet or not. I did send a picture to Merrick. I'm not sure if he has received that yet or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Send a picture to my. Yeah, but we've seen this. This is if you pointed. Pardon? It's on the YouTube channel. Where we saw this in the first weeks. I showed it to the knowledge seekers in the box. It's like an ice cream box, wasn't it? We saw it. It's one of the blocks. We've seen it. But if you understood this spider web and the channels of magnetic fields, now go back and look at the brain structure, MRI of a brain. And if you're a scientist with a medical background or understanding of medicine and human biology, you will see a lot of similarities and you understand one of the sources of control of the system within the body. This is very correct. And this channeling magnetic field channel, I spoke about it a few weeks ago. If you go in one of the workshops, I think we spoke about it. This magnetic field channels in the boxes.
Right, I'm not talking about inside the GANs. I'm talking about inside the boxes that you're creating the GANs from.
It's the same.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but in a smaller version. If you now, I showed this to the knowledge seekers a couple of weeks before we broke up. I presume you have a lot of boxes which there is just a partition, not different boxes next to each other. If you have,
no, they're different boxes.
no,
I have that.
If you,
that kind of.
Okay.
One box.
If you have a set, which is a division inside, and you filled up with liquid and material, start looking at, when you have a boxes next to each other, it's a different proposition. Even that you see some of it, you look. But if you have a box separation with a partition, start looking at different color materials or different density of the material you get in each box. In the box where we have, in the one I produced, we get 2 brownish, reddish, 1 clear, 1 brownish, 1 clear, 1 brownish. And then, for example, where there is a single brown out of the 2, 1, 1, then we get 2 brown in the other direction, 1 clear and 1 brown. Or in parts we get a total line of, let's say, 6 boxes, which all is staying clear, CO2. And then in another box we get the 6 next to each other, which go all red or brown. The 2, 1, 1, the center one, because you're producing CO2, it's an oxygen base. So this is your oxygen. The single one on the right is a carbon, which is a communicator and the link. The first red next to the white is nitrogen. And the one next to the hydrogen, nitrogen is a hydrogen with an energy releaser. And then if you look at into your box, you see the same formation. 2, 1, 1 in one lines or in the 90-degree connections, and you see the same formation. So not only you're creating protein on the top layer, you're creating protein magnetic field in each box as a cell. I think knowledge seekers have posted this picture, if you've seen it. Yeah, it should be there somewhere on the documents or videos which has been shown. Yeah, especially YouTube channel. So you see this, and then if you look at the layers of the fat on the top, if you look good enough, you will see a formation as well in that. But the interesting is you create fat on the top of the box and you create solid CO2 at the bottom. And then if you, in time, allow the fat, the water to evaporate in time, where the fat mixes with the solid, you understand how creation was done on this planet in another form. You mix protein with the GANs of matter, and this becomes your lung. This has become your tissue, your fiber. But in different condition and salt condition, they've been created in different environment and mixed together, and it's led to the creation of man. And that's why hydrogen is part of your body. That's why oxygen is part of the structure of your body that you use. Because if we saw it yesterday with Marco's system, he's just built a new system. Oxygen bubbles coming up to the surface. So oxygen has become part of the structure of man's life because it was there when he came. It's become part of receiving and centralizing the magnetic fields. So we use it to breathe because it's been part of the process. Pay attention to your boxes. You see bubbles of oxygen coming up, and if it gets trapped in the fat layer, because of the heavier gravitational magnetic field of the oxygen, it absorbs and it holds on to the other elements. So it becomes a link and a source of division into helium and hydrogen for the feeding of the protein. And that's how life is started on this planet. You sit in your own box, understand the process. If you can post your pictures from your box, yeah, with the bubbles. This is the third time we've seen the bubbles in different boxes.
Mr. Keshe, I have a box cell with some material that I can't imagine what it is, but it looks like fat, but it's on the bottom. I would like you to see the link that I've sent some seconds ago. If it's
Let
possible.
me see. I can't. We have one of the most beautiful computers. Is Windows 4, and it says this doesn't support images. So Windows 8. So now I have to pinch from the others. Is there anywhere we can see it? It's coming up. It's getting loaded.
Okay.
This is not fat. This is, we saw this yesterday with, this is high concentration CO2.
It's because it's
this
different
is the GANs
from
of
the other.
CO2 at the bottom, yeah. You get it like a fungus infection.
Yes,
because
yes,
don't forget, when you see this fungus infection, like this is the reason for it is actually sometime in your water you have calcium, and this changes to calcium CO3. And at the same time, in the process, it will change to CO2 itself because of the gravitational field of your material. And this comes, if you notice, sometimes on the tip end of your wires, where your wire finishes, where you cut it, because where the way you touched it or the way you handled the end. This fungus condition usually happens on the two ends of your connections and the loose ends where you handle, because you don't touch your nanomaterial in the middle, you touch the ends, and this is where it comes in, and this is very normal. It's not, but this is usually calcium connected Ca, what do you call it, CO3, but it's not fat. It'll convert in time to CO2.
Okay, this setup was showing nothing until I put more water, salt water, on it, and
Yeah,
from
most
night to
probably you
day,
added the calcium. You don't
from night to
forget.
day, it happens. It happened. This like
Yeah,
show up
we've seen
like
this.
magic.
We have exact copy now in the lab with Marcos. But don't forget, if you understand the process, what you see, this is how calcium became part of the structure of the man's body. See, this I can tell you with confidence because this has been tested by the nuclear center and I have a report of it. So if you understand the process, this is how calcium became our bone structure and part of our existence. Because calcium, somehow through its characteristics, does not become a gas, it stays as matter. So in the environment of the material, you will find blocks of it. When the CO2 is released, then the calcium you see at the bottom of your pot or in your squares, they're like a chalk, white. This is the calcium which is converted, and this is the process. Now we understand why calcium became part of the physical structure, because it still stays in the matter state, even if it's in a gas position. So if you look at the bottom of your cores in your blocks and you see these white pieces, very solid looking, these are the calcium which has come through the water pipe or through your water when you did it, and or you touched something with the calcium content, and now it's there. Now you see the creation of the solid matter, the structure of the bone, and fat, and the oxygen, all in one box. This is how creation was done in the sea. Now, for the first time, you're observing it.
Okay, that's a lot to absorb, to understand, but
yeah,
I will listen again.
yeah, but look at the box. Look into when you're looking at these gas materials, especially when you're creating CO2. In some boxes of the CO2, you see whitish, like a bone structure, very flakes. It's like a thin flakes. Yeah. And if you can separate these, what the research shows is a calcium based. And this is how the bone was. If there was a calcium in the water, calcium has a property of not change. It stays in a gas but in a matter state, in a solid state, or solidifies quicker. Because if you've seen some of the presentation we used to do a couple of years ago, we have shown GANs as a liquid, we shown GANs as a gel, and we show GANs as a dry powder. But somehow in the process, in the water, and the salt environment, and the nanomaterial, and the GANs, other GANs materials, calcium manages to dry itself very fast to a solid. So, and then because it's been trapped again in the structure of the fat and amino acid and the rest, has become part of the physical structure which you use to stand up on. And we call it the bone. You've seen the fundamental of the creation of the bone in these pots. I see it quite a lot. Originally, I thought these are just nothing, but in past 3-4 years, more and more doing the understanding, and now we see the confirmation from research results from other sides. It is a calcium, which shows again another process of creation. That's how we start having backbones and the legs and the rest of it, because calcium is a natural process. Next question.
Because you are at this point, Mr. Keshe, I have a very quick question.
Who asked you to ask the question? Armand is going.
Please, good to see you.
No more questions.
The number of repetitions.
Go.
Yeah, that will be fast. In this single box with multiple partitions, as you said, the number of repetition of coating of the copper meshes and wires does have any importance of
course.
what material do you, In other words, if you
Of
do
course.
one time, and if you do 5 times, what will be the difference in the material obtained in all these partitions?
Depends what environment you create and how you do it and how you twist it. When I make, I set out to produce amino acid in my reactor, and I've done that out of experience. Yeah. Now we seen the same position with Marcos. He's followed the same. Now we see partially at the moment. We're gonna go and open the lab this morning and see what God has given us yesterday or overnight. Arman is setting a very beautiful setting. It gives us a chance to study a lot of combinations. He's mixing and matching and positioning. It's a combination of different nanomaterials. Have you finished coating it yet? It's still in the pot.
But I posted some pictures.
He's posted some pictures, he says. So we'll see the formation of the materials in different ways in next week or two. And then we talk about it. How you twist your wires makes a difference. How you strengthen it makes difference. If you use the hand to twist it, make a difference. How you just create a new condition, new environment, and you put different materials in that environment. The fat of your body, the dust you took from the gloves. A lot of people use gloves and then they take it off and then do something else, and they think that dust of the glove is transferred onto nanomaterial. A lot of people, when you use the gloves, they put powders on it for you to be able to get your hand in. And then you think your hand is clean and you do something else and you transfer the powder. What is in that powder? That's, for example, one of the things. How many of you have started tasting the gans in your mouth? How many of you have been running the reactors and say, "Oh, I don't feel like eating today"? You know, you don't feel hungry. You carry on, and you'll find out the more you work with these reactors, your hunger somehow disappears. Not because you get involved with the work, is because the plasma releases part of its energy which matches yours, and you already get fed. Your reactor has become your food station.
It happened to me.
You got to. Pardon?
It has happened to me.
So, yeah, because
Being
now
without
you're.
hungry.
Yeah, because what you need is already absorbed by being and in touching in gas materials and the reactors. This is how the feeding will be done in the space. We don't take your cows. The cows will be pictures on the frame. This is what was to be on the earth. Now you start just monitor your own body behavior. Then you understand how much you have gained the knowledge of God.
There's a question from the live stream that's very much in the lines of that, which is, does music affect the technology, and what is gathered from the ether into the little trays?
Everything. You know what happened yesterday? Armand is going to run out in a minute. He's laughing. I asked him a single question because we're getting cheekiness, you know, this playfulness with his reactor. The problem we explained, we had a problem yesterday and the thing stops and plays. This is the one almond seed. And I asked him one question. Did you pray for it before you see it? He says, yes, of course. I said, no wonder we have a problem. He's picked up your cheekiness. So what you do, you pray, you give part of your soul to it. So it carries your habit, and we see it. It's taking a lot of attention. It's exactly like Armin. He's playful, and he just does things what he likes. He's given his character by putting, because he spent a lot of time making it. He's put all his energy, all his thoughts into this that will go. And you see it, this reactor is going to be, you know, you have a, what do you call it? A playful chap in the gang is one of those, and he's there. He showed it past 3 days how he does it. Of course, music does. Music is a magnetic field wave, so it does affect. Next question.
So
You watch
coming
this
back to
reactor.
my
Let me tell you something. You watch the life of this reactor Arman has put together. It'll be troublesome every day. It'll do something every day. He says nobody knows. It's already been on the operating table twice. We have to take him to emergency room.
That small motor is not for my record.
Oh, doesn't matter. It's the fields you create. Okay, Rusian, ask a question.
Have equation. There is no equation to describe.
yes, coming back to my question, an estimation. What will happen, let's say, if you repeat the coating only one time on the electrodes, and if you do it, let's say, 20 times? What kind of consequence will that have?
You create different magnetic field environment around it. And secondly, we've seen this here, the top layers, they come much, when they change them to GANs, they look bigger, and then over time, as they balance themselves out, they become like a talkish, very soft. You create different environmental condition, but it's the same. But you cannot pass certain amount of GANs material on a layer because the fields will not allow it. There is a limitation. Even if you do it 30 times, it might look darker, but it's very, very much you condense the layers together. There is a limit. I usually don't do it more
Be like
than
a
2 or 3
saturation.
times. Yeah, it's not a saturation. This goes back. The GANS layers are like your skin. They don't come from the top. They have to come from the copper inside. How much can you pull up? You understand? It's not a saturation. It gets to the
So
point
you're
that
recommending to do it like
I do it 2, 3 times, but the process you do it is effective. What temperature water you use, how much caustic you use to raise the temperature. Are you vapor coating? Are you deep coating? Are you doing what I call like a pot coating? You know the reactor cores which I make, I turn them upside down and put a caustic inside them. And I put the boiling water in the pot. And I leave them for 3, 4 weeks. Because you don't see any fat
yes,
on it, you don't see.
all this. Remember that I was asking you about maybe 3 workshops ago regarding if we can do it, the coating only with sodium hydroxide and a Coca-Cola bottle neck. I did the experiment probably since 3, 4 weeks. It's very slow, but it's coating itself.
Of course.
Unbelievable. And the neck is, how to say, thinning itself. In other words, the plastic goes from the bottle to the copper. Very, very slow. It's working.
Yeah, because if you pick it up in 6 months' time, you only have the red cap tied up to the thick neck at the bottom of the neck of the Coca-Cola bottle. All that, one of the nice tests you can do is, I did this some time ago, just vaguely remember. You know when you close your cap of the Coca-Cola bottle, empty the bottle after, let's say, an hour or so, and then put silicone around the red cap and the neck that nothing can come out. Then you see the process. Observe what happens to your electrode and make sure there is no leakage in by the side of your electrodes. Then what you have collected is all the carbons will go and become a different part, and you have an atomic hydrogen in your Coca-Cola bottle. This is a nightmare of militaries, and I keep on repeating. Military boys' biggest nightmare is the way you lot create atomic hydrogen. But you need it. If you know how to separate it, when you put in your plasma, actually, if you know how to do it, put it through a salt condition. you will create the GANs of hydrogen. You have hydrogen in a solid state. Then add the GANs into center core of your core reactor. You can travel in any deep space in the universe, but this knowledge is not with you. You don't understand how to do it. There is an easy way to use cesium. And then you have atomic hydrogen in a GANs state from the Coca-Cola bottle. And because the hydrogen is a common denominator gravitational magnetic field plasma, then by dictating only, now you use hydrogen in an atomic level, more or less. All the hydrogen we put in is atomic. Then we have to convert it. Then you use a GANs, which is already in the plasma condition. You can enforce or create a condition of the plasma of any point in this universe for travel purpose. But this is because you don't ionize it to create a plasma. You use the whole GANs of the hydrogen, which is the common denominator in the universe. In the universe, there is no
So what
matter
you're saying,
of
Mr.
hydrogen.
Keshe, is that the center star of the universe is a GANs hydrogen?
Of course they are. What do you think? It's the GANs of it. It's not neutron, it's not electron, it's not proton. You see this structure, and I'll explain this if it's too hard to understand. You see this in the formation of the edge of the solar systems. This is what I discussed with the nuclear scientists. This is what we want. But you can do it in a softer way, faster way using cesium.
Mr. Keshe, I have some information.
Yes.
I have some information that the listeners might enjoy. If they want to see some of the ships that are flying around and see some of the colors and shapes that they produce, they can go to eceti.org. That's ECETI.org. Or you can go to YouTube videos and just type that in. And the guy's name is James. And there's several
We
races
don't
there.
promote nobody else. Let people see what they can see.
This is just my friend's place. He doesn't make money on it. I'm just telling people so they can go see the type of things that fly around.
Yeah, no problem. We see a lot of things flying around you don't even see. You're not even aware of it. They're not just flies that you can catch.
No, these are all kinds of things.
Yeah. Is there any other question?
No,
Ahmed says no. Late for his coffee.
I think we should probably end things here. It's been 3 hours, and that's enough for now. And I think that...
I just before we finish, I go back to something which I said part of the discussions today. I ask you, wherever you are, what nationality you are, please send emails to European Space Agency regarding Mr. Hans Brackenier and explain the case to them, and we can release part of this talk. If you can segment this presentation of today. Secondly, please inform the European Court of Justice and Human Rights in Den Haag regarding this matter, because you lot are touching, you're becoming like us scientists, and if you become too elite, you become vulnerable to the same people's attack. It's not for us, it's for the humanity as a whole and the whole lot of you. They will try to make life so dangerous that nobody comes close to the technology because they want to be benefited by it themselves. But they don't know they might die in an accident very quickly, but before anybody else, they can enjoy the fruits of their crimes. Please do not stop sending the information we gave. Yeah, let me finish something.
Okay.
Yeah, just let me finish. Let me finish, please. And at the same time, what we disclose about Mr. Delanois and Mr. Hans Brackenier, do not stop sending the new information to the Federal Police of Belgium and Interpol. Thank you very much. What's your question?
Yes, I would like to show your attention that the process is a little bit different. So the process is a little bit different. Let's say the foundation is suing Mr. whatever, police officer, it will lose in a
Yeah.
Belgian court of law. So after that, the foundation is going to the Brussels, to the European Court, and in that court, the panel of judges are from all the European countries, not only from Belgium. So the
Yeah, but
odds
let me tell you, what's the use of wasting so much energy? That's how they keep scientists occupied, that they can do what they like. We don't need that. I could have done
what
that.
I was trying to say is that the European Court cannot be, how to say, you cannot make a complaint with the European Court before you exhaust
There
the
are
national
procedures.
phase.
Yeah, there are procedures that they can initiate cases themselves. The judges within the Court of Human Rights and the European Court, judges have powers that they can initiate the investigations. You're correct in what you say, but there are other channels open to them, especially which is, don't forget, there are elections coming up in some European nations. And the Keshe Foundation most probably be used as part of the process. They want to show what's going on. The political structure will set against their own selves what they've done to themselves. But the most important thing is, before running into more and more problems, these people are good shot and can take people to court as long as there is nothing done and they think they're in charge. You as people have shown and we posted today, with you sending emails to the police and to the Federal Police of Belgium, because people in Federal Police of Belgium are fed up with these people. They know they are there, but they couldn't get rid of them because nobody opens their hand. Read, accidentally is a very big case. He cannot do, he has to cancel the presentation. Accidentally, the police officer doesn't have a big case, so big case, that he cannot stop one of the biggest frauds he was chasing and threatening. He has spent a lot of money of the Belgian government threatening, interviewing people in different countries and traveling on the account of the Belgians. The hotels he's living in and everything else. And the threat is made. These people know what they are doing, and we know the process too. We have advisors within the legal structure. I thank you very much for the process today. And please share your knowledge the way we do, whatever you learn.
One quick question before you go. Quick, very quick. What is the crunching noise in the background we've been hearing for the last 10 or 15 minutes?
This is a scotch tape I'm playing with. What do you call it? Double-sided tape.
That will drive the transcribers.
I just found it and I was playing. You should tell
That
me
will
what
drive the transcribers crazy. And I had visions of you, of Armin back there cutting up nanomaterial copper foil.
You don't learn, huh?
Okay. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Here in the Spaceship Institute.
Thank you.
And that's going to that will end our transmission for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for attending once again, and on the live stream and there. Peace out.
Mr. Keshe, are you online?
I'm just ending it here. Just allow me to